Before we delve into this topic, let's consider something together, if we can. Can we approach this question of social gatherings from a space of mind that sees the whole tapestry of human experience, not just as an isolated issue, but as a thread intricately woven into the larger fabric of our lives? You see, no single problem exists in isolation. Our challenges, whether personal, societal, or even global, are interconnected. Therefore, to truly understand and address any problem, we must approach it from a place of integration, a holistic perspective. You understand what I mean? Most of us, perhaps, are fractured. Our lives are compartmentalized: work, family, spirituality, leisure. These all seem separate, often disconnected. We tend to view life through these fragmented lenses, often shaped by our conditioning and conclusions, by concepts or ideals. This undeniably is a fragmented perception of life. We are, most of us, broken. So, is it possible to approach a problem such as social gatherings from a perspective that transcends these fragments? Can we engage with it holistically as whole beings? Are we meeting each other in this? As we came together here, we wondered, can we address any question, any challenge from this unified perspective? I hope you do not mind the use of that word. It might even be called a scientific word. I hope the scientists forgive its use as we use the term integrated. But can we approach problems from a point of total integrity and ask questions? It's an interesting point to explore together. Knowing we are fragmented, divided, contradictory, pulled by opposing desires, aware of all this, and we face a question from a fundamentally different perspective. Why do we have problems? They seem to be multiplying daily: political, religious, relational, personal, and so on. In our sophisticated, complex world with overpopulation, governments that do not serve problems seem to grow exponentially. And in the attempts to solve one problem, we seem to create new ones. Why? Any answer to this question is likely to bring up other similar questions. Why do we have problems? Is it possible to address a problem without a brain that's already conditioned to solve problems? Do you understand my question? Perhaps not. Neither do I at the moment. Laughter. So let's explore it together. From a very young age, perhaps 5 or 7, we are faced with problems in school. How to read, how to write, how to calculate, learning itself becomes a problem. From childhood, our brains are conditioned to problem solving. This is not the speaker's fantasy, it's a fact. And this pattern continues. College, university, jobs, responsibilities, problems one after another. Our brains become saturated with problems and conditioned to seek solutions. From this conditioned brain, we seek solutions to our problems. Is this clear? Are we together on this? But how can the brain solve problems if it's not free from problems itself? Our brains are conditioned to resolve problems from childhood. Therefore, it is always searching for a solution and not understanding the problem itself. Is it possible to have a brain that is not conditioned to problems? Your brain right now is conditioned to seeking solutions, and we have never truly solved our problems. They seem to increase. Is it because a conditioned brain can never solve problems? Have I made this clear? Is it possible to have a brain that isn't conditioned to solutions but towards the understanding of problems? Is there not a distinct difference between solving and understanding? The solution might lie within the understanding itself. Take the simple example of war. Humanity has engaged in war since the beginning, and yet we have never solved the problem of war. Instead, we have focused on reorganizing how to kill more efficiently. This we call progress. From the League of Nations to the United Nations, wars continue. We move from one organization to the next, hoping to solve the problem. Yet instead we multiply problems. The roots of war are division, nationalism, economic disparities, racial biases, religious dogma. These are what divide us. Yet we fail to address the shared human experiences of pain, anxiety, loneliness, or despair. We address the surface problems and fail to understand the depth. So let's ask, can the brain recognize that it is conditioned to solve problems and be free of this conditioning and then address a problem? To be aware of the fact that we, as humans, struggle with problems and are conditioned to seek solutions. The correct answers can only come when we recognize the brain is conditioned. As long as this condition exists, problems will continue. Do you recognize the fact of it? There is a difference between having an idea and recognizing the fact. We hear a statement and draw a conclusion, extracting an idea and pursuing it. We need to see the fact that our brain is conditioned to problem solving, not just the idea that we should be free from it. So, as long as that condition persists, so will the endless cycle of problems. Can we, you and I, be free of this conditioned brain by seeing the truth of it and not running away from it? Is this clear? It's a fact. If we are struggling with our spouse, we divorce and seek someone new and continue the cycle. The problem is not the divorce, but the depth of understanding the relationship. We want to solve the problem of relationships, but we never ask the deeper questions. And so we never solve them. Psychiatrists and therapists multiply like mushrooms and yet fail to solve the depth of the problem. So, let's consider what is the art of living. We have the art of poetry, cooking, and painting. But have we considered the greatest art of all, the art of living? Is there such an art, or is it all just chance, or perhaps genes? What is the true art of living? Don't wait for me to answer it and we have made another problem. If you answer it, the art is thrown out of the window. Let's explore it together. What is art? Not in the confines of a museum, but in the fullest depth of the word. If someone were to ask you, what is the art of living? What would be your answer? Not a calculated answer, but a personal one. An emotional or romantic answer is meaningless. If we say the art of living is aspiration or intellectual activity, that is only partial. And if we say the art of living is to have a holistic outlook on life, it sounds good but is not factually true. So, what is it? The art of living is obviously not having conflict within ourselves. A mind in conflict is limited. The very act of thinking about ourselves, for example, how to meditate, is self-centered. The art of living, it seems, is to live without conflict. Is it even possible? It is to understand the opposing elements within oneself, desiring one thing and its opposite. This is the constant duality in our lives. And self-centeredness leads to conflict. Self-centeredness is inherently limited. You listen to all of this and yet carry on. Laugh. But have you ever truly tried for even a day or even an hour to live without thinking about yourself? You are not committed to anything. See what happens. If you can do it for 1 hour, you can extend it. It just gives you great energy, a deep passion, not lust, but a passion to pursue something to its depth. Is that enough for now? Let's look at this question of social gatherings. We're talking about the art of living, and it does seem to be inextricably linked to our social interactions. Is there an art to these gatherings, or are they just another form of problem, a routine or habit that we have fallen into? We talk about mental well-being, but is that really what is on offer when we gather? If we gather merely as a means to an end, to feel less lonely, to network, to seek approval, or to simply pass the time, are we truly engaging with each other? Or are we simply acting out habitual patterns of interaction but don't really nourish our minds? Do these gatherings then become just another solution we are trying to enact? Something we think should help because we have a system of doing things? We must begin with recognizing that our brain is conditioned to this problem solving. When we think social gatherings, we start in a place of thought, a place of shoulds and musts, or trying to avoid something, perhaps loneliness. What we are saying is that it is not that such gatherings are bad, but rather that it is our own conditioned approach to them. They may in fact be helpful, but that is not the point. The point is how we, from a conditioned mind, approach the problem or the idea of a gathering. A truly meaningful gathering is perhaps not one that seeks to solve a problem, but one that arises from a genuine human connection. This connection isn't about fleeting social niceties, but about a deeper, more authentic understanding between individuals. When we meet like this, what is that we are seeking? Are we not trying to solve our own isolation through the act of gathering with others? When we look at social gatherings through the lens of self-centeredness, they become transactional. We gather to feel better about ourselves, to seek validation, or to gain something from others. This is not to say that all interactions must be profound, but to see if they are arising from genuine connection or the desire for a solution. The art of living is not something that can be reduced to a formula or system. It's a delicate dance between inner awareness and external interactions. The art of social gatherings, perhaps, lies in the ability to meet others without the noise of our own self-centeredness, our own agendas, our own desire for some kind of gain, which can even be a deeper sense of belonging. A gathering that is free from conflict is one where we meet each other as whole, integrated human beings, not as fragmented entities with a litany of personal problems. In that space, we can truly connect and share. So, let's consider then how we go about this. To move towards a place of authentic connection means looking inwards at our conditioned mind. It means being honest and clear about what we are seeking from such an activity. It may mean asking, what does it mean to be truly social? Are we merely existing, or are we truly engaging? And perhaps that is why these questions are so difficult for us to truly grapple with. We are conditioned to live life a certain way, and the thought of changing it is both a terrifying prospect and yet a thrilling possibility. Let us consider these things as we go about our daily lives. And perhaps in this way, we may begin to see the possibility of social gatherings being more than just a means to an end, but rather an expression of the deepest art, the art of living.